Marathon is back, and no, I'm not joking. Seriously, look, Marathon is back with a closed technical test that you can apply for right now, and your boy got some thoughts about this. Actually, I have quite a few thoughts, and I gotta preface this all by saying I completely forgot about Marathon. I genuinely did. That experience that I had, I don't even know what to call it. It was completely overshadowed by Arc Raiders, and I'm grateful for Arc Raiders completely overshadowing it because, gosh, you want to talk about a whirlwind of problems from the art theft to how the game played, all that stuff. Again, I got some thoughts, but I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to just go through this here and we'll just have some dialogue, all right? So since June, we've run several closed play tests to gather feedback on Marathon, which we all heard the leaks about and whatnot. We heard things were getting a bit better, and I'm not going to lie. When I would see some posts on Reddit, literally it wouldn't even register in my brain. It was a Marathon post and I would kind of keep scrolling on by it, right? Whether if it was Reddit, X, whatever, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, we're now opening apps for more players to join us in the closed technical test from October 22nd to October 27th. This is a limited invite-only play test for players in NA and Europe on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. As with recent closed play tests, this is under NDA, right? They're trying to keep everything under wraps, and they've been trying to do so because they realized it backfired when they didn't keep things under wraps. Actually, it didn't backfire. That was the best thing that could have happened for Marathon if Marathon ever wants to have a sliver of hope in the future, all right? Fill out this form between now and October 16th. Submit your app. If you previously applied for public alpha in April, the form may automatically submit. No further action will be needed if this happens. I'm gonna let you know right now, mine did not auto submit, but hey, it is what it is. Players on PC will be enabling apps via Steam on October 13th, and they'll remain open until October 26th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is an important checkpoint for us as we test our improvements since alpha. Check this out. This is really, really important here, all right? Including 3 maps, right? We had, 2 maps in the public alpha, 5 runner shells, so they're giving us an additional runner here, okay? Prox chat, and I don't know if y'all remember, isn't the game dev or the game lead Joe Ziegler? Let me actually just double check that, because I don't want to misquote anybody. I don't want to misname anybody. Yep, Joe Ziegler. All right, cool. I remember when we were like, yo, where's Prox chat? Joe Ziegler was like, well, we don't want to ruin the experience, and I'm paraphrasing, he may have said something totally different, but it was something along the lines of they kind of didn't think Prox chat was that important, right? So they heard the feedback there and they feel the heat from Arc Raiders. Shout out to Embark Studios, baby. I love y'all, right? Prox chat, retuned combat pacing. I don't know what that means. I would assume gunfights will play different in some capacity. Maybe they don't drag out as long. Maybe they do. No idea. We'll see. Check this out. I got to zoom in on this right here. How do I zoom? There we go. Bro, I've been using a MacBook for too long. I don't know how to scroll over. Y'all see it right here. Y'all see it. Solo queue. Do you all remember some of the biggest pain points for Marathon? And I think I mentioned this in one of my Marathon videos months ago, that there needed to be a solo player experience. And they were kind of giving us a little pushback on that. They were really leaning into the 3-player experience. Well, guess what? Shout out to Arc Raiders, because Embark is literally putting BTA, right, on not just Marathon, but every extraction shooter in the genre. So Marathon, Bungie has no choice but to conform to what the player wants. So we got the Prox chat jumping off, we got the solo queue jumping off, deeper environmental storytelling, which I would assume lower beats and stuff like that, which is something Bungie's always been good at, right? Love or hate Destiny, Bungie's always done a good job with some form of environmental storytelling, whether if we're talking cutscenes, narrative, you name it. So cool, right? And more. Very curious to see what the more is, right? But just the fact that, first and foremost, I'm like, all right, we're sticking to the class-based thing. Whatever it is, what it is, But the Prox chat, I can dig. Prox chats literally make or break extraction shooters. It's the reason why I kind of stopped vibing with Delta Force. There's no Prox chat, man. I like being able to talk a little stuff and have some fun, truthfully. And then the solo queue jam, that's very, very interesting. Bungie's hand is forced right here. And I love it. I absolutely love it, because what we played back in April, at the moment I was like, it's not so bad, but looking back at it, it was terrible. It was terrible, right? Like it just was, oh my gosh, man. Like I could see the potential, like the framework there, but the experience was just, it was maybe not terrible. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but it was meh. It was like, it was a forgettable experience because I forgot I even played in the public alpha. I was like more honed in on the Arc Raiders tech test, right? So getting back here, that said, this the technical test build is a work in progress and will only include a portion of what's planned for Marathon's full release, focused on the early player experience. Cool. All right. They preface by saying this. So there's going to be dust, right? It's a technical test. We don't know how far away this game is from actual release. So you're like, hey, they're putting it out there. They'll be sharing a public update. Gosh, I suck using Windows computers right now. We'll be sharing a public update on Marathon's development in the coming months after the closed technical test. So I'll be really interested to see the feedback they get from this closed technical test here. I'll be honest, like the player count probably is not going to be jumping because we'll have Battlefield 6 coming out literally 3 days beforehand, right? And then people are going to be so jazzed for Arc Raiders that they're not going to care. Oh, yeah, and then we got the stress test for Arc Raiders October 17th through the 19th, right? So literally, like, player count is going to be really, really funky in regard to this Marathon closed tech test. But I'm still really interested to jump in and check it out and just see, okay, what really changed up? Because, look, Bungie has an uphill battle from all angles when it comes to Marathon, right? You got the Destiny community that's pissed off because Destiny 2 is in shambles, and everybody is saying right now, y'all should have took those resources from Marathon and poured them into a Destiny 3, which, respect, right? Can studios develop more than one game? Absolutely, but you can't allow one game to be burning down and then you pull everything from it and put it on another game. Like that's ridiculous, right? You just don't do that. I feel like that's bad business, So you got that jumping off, right? The people in the extraction shooter community, they're like, yo, there's really nothing that enticed me to play Marathon. Like, yeah, the gunplay actually felt all right, but Bungie's gunplay always feels like relatively solid, no matter if we're talking OG Halo, whether if we're talking Destiny. Like, gunplay has never been an issue for Bungie, right? But the game just felt hollow. So extraction shooter enthusiasts or fans were just like, all right, whatever, right? So you got that uphill battle. Everything with the stolen art assets from Anti-Real, right? I'm sure that's been settled in the background. I'm sure Anti-Real had to sign like an NDA or whatever, and I'm sure that's been settled, right? If it hasn't, man, dog, I would assume, though, it has been. If Bungie is stupid, that hasn't been settled, but I would assume behind the scenes it's been settled. Everything's quiet. Those assets have been scrubbed and removed, yada, yada, yada. But still, there's going to be people that are rubbed the wrong way from that, right? So you got that uphill battle. You also have another uphill battle behind the scenes because of what Bungie was standing 10 toes down on. And not even really Bungie. I won't say Bungie in totality, but Joe Ziegler, right? No smut on your name, Joe. But I remember during one of was it an interview or, yeah, because all the devs were getting interviewed. But like, you all were standing 10 toes down in the whole 3-player no solo queue experience, right? You all were standing 10 toes down there. You all were like, oh, you really want prox chat? Heck yeah, we want prox chat, right? So there were some things that you all weren't willing to bend on, and now you're bending on it. And it's almost like you're only bending because you're desperate, not because you're really listening to the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that you can almost feel that, right? Whereas if there's a development team that, is getting feedback from the community, and they hear the feedback, they acknowledge it, and they start to make adjustments, that feels like you heard a community. Where here it feels like you're just doing this because y'all know Arc Raiders is killing y'all. And y'all know that, like, by the time y'all release, Arc Raiders is going to be a well-oiled machine. And dog, if y'all don't come with some like real heat, and look, I'm gonna go into Marathon with no expectations. I am not one, like, I am an overly optimistic individual, for better or for worse. Like, hey, it is what it is, right? But I'm gonna go into Marathon with zero expectations. But even in doing that, I just can't see it pulling me away from Arc Raiders. For it to do that, it would have to be like like this would have to be such a miraculous difference from what I played back in April. It's crazy from a narrative standpoint, gameplay loop, everything I do has to feel like important. Like, I mean, you all already know the vibes for Arc Raiders, man. Like, gosh, Bungie, I wish y'all nothing but the best. And truthfully, I really do, because look, if Marathon releases and it actually is a beautiful product, all that does is, you know, calls for greater competition. We already see what that's doing with Call of Duty and Battlefield. Call of Duty is actually listening in some capacity because Battlefield is putting BTA, right? And if you don't know what BTA stands for, it's belt to ass, okay? We know Battlefield is putting belt to ass when it comes to Call of Duty, right? So Call of Duty is actually having to bend the knee. They're having to do things like testing low to no skill-based matchmaking lobbies in their, was it closed beta, open beta, whatever? I don't even know. I haven't paid much mind to COD as of late. But, right, like, so they're having to do things like that because Battlefield has been handling business, right? Arc Raiders, it's the same with Marathon. They're handling business, and I do not see them letting up at all. So Marathon and Bungie has to bend the knee here, right? So at the end of the day, guess who wins? You win. I win. Us as the consumer, we win whenever whenever developers and studios are challenged to make better products and have to listen to us, because we're the consumer. We hold all the power, and we got to remember that, you know? So I'll be very interested to see how this all plays out for sure. A little bit of, we can call it tertiary information, for lack of a better term, or just some extra details here, because I wanted to make sure I covered all of this. When it comes to this closed tech test sign up, the FAQ, how long will the closed tech test run? It'll run from October 22nd to October 28th. Oh, okay, cool. So I totally threw this, right? Initially, I thought it ran from October 13th to the 26th, right? This is just Steam signups. Okay, I was off by that, right? So this runs from the 22nd to the 28th. This does not interfere with Arc Raiders at all. Beautiful. That was smart, Bungie, because y'all would look, yeah, y'all feelings would be hurt. You okay? Yeah. Participation in previous tests do not guarantee participation in this or future tests, which I think is a little silly. It's like, bro, I played back in April. You might as well just bring me in here, bro. Like, come on, what are we doing? But whatever. How do I know if I've been invited? You'll receive an official email from Bungie. Closed tech test invites will be sent in waves through the test. All right, cool. Just like for the public alpha. If I played in the alpha or other ND8 playtest, am I auto invited to the closed tech test? No, you'll need to apply and be invited to the closed tech test to participate. Again, I think that's a little silly. Come on, Bungie. Like, if we've already played it, wouldn't you want us to play this updated product so that we can compare and contrast? Like, I think, you know, come on. Am I allowed to stream, record, or share my playtest experience? It's strictly under NDA, so no, you cannot. But some stuff is still going to leak anyway. I mean, that's just the way of the road. And as such, you will not be able to stream or share your playtest experience publicly. All right, cool. Any feedback or recordings will need to be shared only in the NDA section of the Marathon official Discord. All right, cool. So if you record, don't leak it. If you leak it, you won't be invited back. It's as simple as that. Can I share my invite with someone else? Your invite is specific to you, the Bungie account you sign up with, and the Discord account you provided during the sign up process. You can't share it. So you cannot have yourself and all 25 of your friends. If you got 25 friends, if you do, good for you, because I don't. Whatever. You all cannot sign up for the sake of you unless you use their account. But that's account sharing, and you can get in trouble. So, you know, tread carefully there. How do we get access to the NDA Discord? Join the official Discord at discord.gg. I can't talk. Discord.gg/marathon the game. They'll add the Discord account name you provided during the sign up to our NDA section, yada, yada, yada. For those joining after the test has begun, we'll be conducting role grants daily in the evening through the duration of the test. For the duration of the test, gosh, I can't read. For Steam users, you'll need to take the survey you receive in-game to provide your Discord and Bungie.net account names. Cool. How do I report bugs or provide feedback? You'll need a Bungie.net account to access the Marathon Help Center forums. For feedback, they'll be sending out surveys here. Additionally, you can provide feedback in the NDA section in the Discord. Which regions are allowed in? NA and Europe. Nobody else right now. So I was getting ready to say, if you come in my stream asking for a code, I can't stream this. So whatever. So again, NA only in Europe. All my other people that are elsewhere in the world, I'm sorry, you all cannot come in just yet, but I'm sure you all will be able to come in at a future date. And then the minimum system requirements, console, PS5 or Xbox Series S. For PC, you got to have at least an Intel i5. You got to at least have a GTX 1050 Ti with 8 gigs of RAM. All right. So that's everything when it comes to the Marathon Close tech test. Again, I'm super interested to see how this all plays out. I have no expectations whatsoever. Like right now, my brain and my body is solely focused on Arc Raiders. And if Marathon can do anything to like pull some of my interest away from Arc Raiders, I would be surprised. They have an uphill battle in that regard, but hey, look, may the best man win, because at the end of the day, if if Bungie drops something that's a banger in some capacity and we find enjoyment in it, we only win as the consumer, because not only do we have Arc Raiders to play, we would have Marathon to play as well, along with a Battlefield 6, and Call of Duty is Call of Duty, whatever. If you play Call of Duty, hey, look, no smut on your name, but I'm praying for you, dog. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below, and let's keep it rational, right? Like, none of the like, oh, Marathon sucks, this, that, and the third, right? Like, I would hope we can have some optimistic dialogue, or if you're not optimistic, just let me know in the comments below and give me a why behind it. I respect everybody's opinion, so it is what it is. Again, y'all heard mine today, and yeah, I'm just curious to see how this all plays out. But until next time, we signing out, and I'll catch you all in the next one.